Manchester United 41 from 18, 11 adrift. Jason McAteer and Tony Pulis with Andy and myself. Thoughts in just a moment on that. We'll also be looking at bias this afternoon ahead of that game.
Oh, Jason can be biased.
Can he?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Andy Townsend, I was just thinking, drives a motorbike at different times.
Yes, he does.
But he hasn't used it today.
I bet he hasn't.
So Manchester United end again.
They've won the game. They haven't won it brilliantly, but they've won the football match in a tricky place. A new manager going in.
Yes.
You know, you just wonder. We've seen it already with Moisey and Sam Allardyce, that the way the teams have reacted to them going in. So it was a tricky place to go. They've won the football match, not with style, not with panache, but they've still won the football match, and they're the closest we've got to a challenger.
He'll be absolutely delighted with the result.
Jose?
Yeah, but he'll be disappointed second half with the performance, and they didn't create more chances, more opportunities. But he'll be delighted that they've gone, as Andy said, they've gone away from home and they've won another game of football.
I think one thing that he needs to do is keep them motivated, because it must be, I always, when I was at Liverpool, I always challenged for the title, and we never got to a point in the season where, certainly not Christmas, where a United or an Arsenal has run away with it and we kind of give up. Where now I think they might have just resigned themselves to thinking...
Which season was that?
Well, 96, 97,
98, 99.
We were always in it. We were, we were always in it. I mean, you've done enough commentary on us to know we were always in it. So we were always motivated by someone slipping up, or us catching them, or trying to get over the line, even into April. Where you look at it now, and I don't know whether the players, and you look at Jose today, whether he's resigned after last weekend to thinking City have won it. Like, then you've got to motivate the players week in, week out.
And that's what we talked about before the game. How would United respond, to this game today, specifically this game, after they'd played Tottenham? A lot of people fancied Tottenham, including a lot of people on this panel as well. And City have just taken them apart. And to get a reaction after that and win that game, I think you'll be delighted.
I know we've got your break, but just quickly, don't forget yesterday we saw Chelsea and Arsenal both playing at home and struggling against two sides we all thought that they would see off quite easily. So, I think we're judging United on City all the time, and it's really difficult for them, I think.
And that's maybe why he looks as miserable as he does, Jose. Sports, and England will continue to hope that the rain falls as they approach the fifth day of the third test. We've got coverage from 0500 Mecca tomorrow morning on beIN Sports 13. Angus Scott and Dominic Cork follow with their Ashes review at 1500 Mecca again on 13. Right now, the Baggies are toiling and Manchester United are strolling, Tony, aren't they? Trouble.
Yeah, United have just picked them off, really. The first goal was a tremendous goal, great header from Lukaku. Gibbs has done very well a couple of minutes earlier by getting inside of Lukaku and heading one away. But this one was it, and you've got to accept it.
Absolutely.
And you've got to accept the good and the bad. And like you say, he's playing for one of the top teams in the world.
Of course he is.
If he's not performing at the level that they expect him to, he's going to get criticism. But for me, I'd be telling if he came in or if he was moaning and groaning, I'd say just cut it off.
But they are temperamental now.
I mean, listen, there's 5, 6, 7,000 Manchester United fans behind that goal who are absolutely loving it, who went berserk and celebrating. And they watched the centre forward just walk away as if it doesn't mean anything.
5, 6, 7,000 of them, Andy, would love to wear that United number 9 jersey.
They'd love to have risen at that back post, nodded that in, and they would have celebrated. I don't know whether they're going overboard as well with the Manchester City thing, and they're saying, well, what we're going to do, we're not going to celebrate at all, which is ridiculous, because neither the manager or him celebrated. So
I don't know whether the row last week.
Yeah, I don't know if the whole City thing about them having so-called no respect for Manchester United. I didn't buy it then, don't buy it now. But that's not celebrating. That's not having disrespect in West Bromwich Albion.
No.
I think United have. I thought it was going to be a real tough game today, and it might still. The next goal is going to be. They'll pick West Brom off. They'll stay nice and solid. And if West Brom come on to them, then they've got the pace to counter-attack.
I think one thing Jose does, and we mentioned Klopp about management of games, where you do see he'd want to go for a second, a third, a fourth. That's where the management comes in. I think Jose at 2-0, as much as the criticism will come, he'll shut up shop and not want another goal. I think he's not bothered. He will do that. And I think that's a good way to manage your game.
I think, there's a difference between going all out and throwing people forward like City do and doing what Josie does. He doesn't need to shut up shop here, does he? He's playing West Brom with the greatest respect, haven't looked a threat in the first half. But what he won't do is overcommit people. That's what he never does, I think, when he gets to 2-0. He just says, OK, we'll just play within ourselves, we'll keep plenty behind the ball, but we will go forward. If they get 3, he'll be happy. If he gets 4, he'll be happy.
But he'll understand Alan Pardew's going to come out second half and throw the kitchen sink at it, because he has to get back in the game.
I'll be really surprised if Pads don't make 1 or 2 substitutions straight away. That's what Alan does. He's a gambler and he'll have a gamble. And he'll make changes.
Would your sports science department allow you to make changes? It's a serious question.
Or do you have to wait for an hour?
Do you have to email somebody?
I know the answer, but I'm asking so that we can share it. You're probably in a minority of 1. These days you've got to
no, if I want to
work
bring
with information.
If I want to bring someone on, then he'd be out there warming up now. And when we kick off, he'd be starting the second half. So I wouldn't be asking the.
But what if somebody came and said, Tony, if you put him on too soon, he could easily be in the red zone.
Richard, we can have a programme on stuff like that I could talk about what has happened and what hasn't happened.
I tell you what you would say.
You'd be surprised.
I tell you what you'd say if he came and said you could be in the red zone. He'd turn around and say to him, well, listen, if we don't win this game today, we'll be in the drop zone. So do it.
And his
stuck up. He got in between. He pulled off Johnny and got in between him and Gibbs and finished it with a plumb. It's an absolute fantastic header. And like Jason said, he scored one similar, the game before. It's a wonderful header. Absolutely fantastic header. Great ball in.
Carbon copy, isn't it?
It's one of those things that when you talk about football, having played up there, you look at that back four and the three big lads on the other side of the pitch.
Yeah.
So if you're Lukaku, you're Manchester United, one of the things you must surely have talked about was if Lukaku can isolate Kieran Gibbs and we can put in a proper cross, then it's a mismatch.
Yeah.
The big man should win the header.
Yeah.
And I think if they've done that, and I'd like to think they did, that's worked perfectly for them.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Don't you play football to enjoy yourself?
Yeah.
So if you're doing what you're paid to do, and Lukaku has, again there, he wasn't at West Brom long enough to show the Hawthorns respect, was he, by not celebrating?
I mean, we saw about the carbon copy finish that we've seen at Bournemouth and this goal today, very similar, but he didn't celebrate against Bournemouth in the week.
Why didn't the manager?
And I just think, well, first of all, I think for Lukaku, I think he's taken that much stick over this barren period he's had without scoring. I just think it's actually got to him, and he's kind of shown it's more or less a sign of frustration, isn't it? Where he, you see, Andy brought it up against Everton. We showed his frustration towards the Everton fans by asking him. He played for them. He gave it the old round the ears one and celebrated really well. The last 2 goals he hasn't bothered because I just feel he thinks he's had undue criticism.
From United supporters?
Yeah, and social media, he's been battered on social media, and I just think it's his show of like.
Well, the best thing to do is not look at social media then. If it's affecting you that much.
But they can't help it. So
I know, but if you're going to be part of it, if West Brom get it, then there's a game on. If United get it, then the game's over. But I was really concerned with United in respect of whether they would turn up. They're unfortunate. Ghazi's unfortunate. He sticks a foot out and it goes over Ben. If his foot's not there, to go straight into Ben's arm. So he saves it. So United have had a little bit of good fortune in that respect. But I really thought this was going to be a tough game for United today, on the back of what Man City had done yesterday.
Yeah.
Would you expect to see United chase a third, or just take what they've got?
I don't think they have to, Richard.
No.
I don't think they have to. I think they'll if they can pick West Brom off now.
An historic day in Scotland after 69 consecutive games unbeaten. Celtic have been beaten. Thumped, I think is the word, by Hearts. And maybe, as Andy said earlier, no bad thing, because they can start again now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a terrific result for Hearts. Make no mistake about it. To beat Celtic as emphatically as this, but it's a bit like City. Celtic were sweeping all before them, unbeaten, couldn't lose a football match. Suddenly they turn up and lose 4.
Isn't Lafferty your next Rangers player? He'll enjoy that, won't he? You get a couple.
Why do goalkeepers do that?
Especially where he's going. The kid's going out to play.
Yeah.
Isn't he? He's going out to play.
It's like the defending yesterday, where people are running away from goal and people are diving in. You give them the opportunity of going over.
Hibs nearly did them recently, didn't they?
That's Phil Brown, isn't it?
This is a huddle at the end with the manager, who's probably saying, "Well done, boys. Let's go again." Well, we can only congratulate Celtic on what's been a stunning run. But have they left the door open, having been beaten?